What's up, Facebook? Got a little video for you. I was in a situation yesterday where if I obeyed all of my natural senses, I would have killed my family. We were flying up north, me and the family, from our home base, 3 Delta Alpha, and we were going to Harrison, 80 Delta. Aaron, Stephanie, Greyhead have a cabin up there. Weather was fine. Ceilings were a little low, so the overcast was about 2,500 feet. So we're cruising up here about 2,000 feet. You know, it was only a 40-minute flight, not too bad at all. We get within 5 minutes of the airport that I was supposed to land at. And the weather, no rain, no thunderstorms, nothing like that, but this cloud moved in so fast, it was phenomenal. Aaron Greyhead was at the airport, you know, waiting to pick us up. And he could not believe how fast this cloud rolled in. So, just as we get there, I see this cloud rolling in. I'm like, I was telling Lena, there's no way we're going to be able to land at this airport. No way. And so, I did a 180, like you should. I am a VFR pilot. So I can only fly if I can see. Legally, I cannot fly in the clouds. I have to get an instrument rating to fly in the clouds. So, the number one thing that you do as a VFR pilot is if you are entering a cloud, you turn around, do a 180, get the heck out of there. So that was the plan. But by the time I turned around to head back to Flint, we're already completely engulfed in this cloud. So basically, we are straight IFR, Instrument Flight Rules. I can't see anything out the cockpit. It's completely white. We're in this white cloud. Completely white. We can't see nothing. Okay? So we are someplace in a dangerous place as a VFR pilot. I don't have tons of training in IFR conditions. That's a totally different rating if you want to fly in them conditions. So here we are. Within the first minute of being in that cloud, I'd lost about 300 feet of altitude, and we are in a 25-degree bank. And I didn't even know it. My senses didn't know it. I had no clue. So here I am looking at these instruments. I'm like, you know what? If I don't do something fast, I'm going to kill me and my family. So I took the stick, I began to line the plane back up to get it straight and level, and I tell you what, I was so disoriented, had no sense of direction, that it was going against the grain, going against every natural instinct I have to line this plane back up. Because my instruments tell me to do this, and as I do this, my natural senses are telling me we're going to flip this plane over and we're going to crash if you do that move. Now, I've heard this a lot, and me personally, I've even made fun of pilots. I'm like, how on earth could a pilot get in this condition, and all you got to do is look at your gauges. It's very simple. There's a little line your airplane up to this little line, and it's simple. But I tell you what, as of today, or as of Friday, I completely understand how you can be disoriented in an aircraft, because your natural senses are telling you, no, these gauges are wrong. These gauges are wrong. Go with your senses. But that's not right. So, as I, line the gauges back up, we begin to circle around. Now, I didn't declare an emergency, but I did call 121.5, which is an emergency station for pilots, and I said, you know what? I'm a VFR pilot. We are in complete IFR. You need to vector me, or you need to get me to the closest airport where there's VFR or visual flight rules, so I can see to get this plane down. So we began to circle, and let me tell you what, the whole time it's going against every natural sense to fly like this. I mean, I'm thinking I'm going to flip this plane over, but I'm just doing everything I can to fly the plane to the instruments, what I was trained to do if you ever encounter the situation. So we began to circle around. I call 121.5. I'm like, hey, get me to the closest airport ASAP. And so as we began to circle around, we hit a little open patch. And so I tell you what, it was so confident to see my wings level and verify the gauges that I'm level. And so, but we was only in it for a split second, then we're back in complete IFR. So I got a hold of Lansing Emergency 121.5. They sent me to Saginaw. That was a big airport that was very close to me, and they're like, you know what, we have good weather here, we want to vector you to Saginaw. So I'm like, okay, Saginaw's about a 20-minute flight, let me get my bearings straight, I'll plug you to my GPS and I'll head your way. So as we're circling around, we are right above an airport. But, I mean, like I said, it's complete. We're in a cloud. You can't see nothing. So we circled around again, And it is just such a relief when I come out of that IFR condition to get back in that little open spot that was right there. But I tell you what, I seen a field there, and that field was looking very well. I talked to my wife the day after. Even she said, I mean, I can put this plane down in this field right now, no problem, we'll be on the ground. But it's not the best thing to do to throw an airplane in the field if, you know, the engine's running and everything's going smooth. The only thing that we were in was I'm a private pilot in an IFR condition. So I'm like, I'm not going to do that. All I got to do is trust my instruments and put that one against every natural sense and against the grain of what my mind was telling me. But trust your instruments, we can fly this plane to Saginaw. So I make one more turn around, and I told Saginaw, I was like, all right, I'm going to turn around one more time, and then I'm going to head your way. Now, I was not looking forward to flying. It was about a 20-minute flight. I was not looking forward to flying 20 minutes through that cloud. But you know what? That's the closest weather. That's good. That's where I need to go. Because I had my whole family on board, my wife and both my kids. So, as I make that last turn to get my bearings straight, to head towards Saginaw, I mean, this is a God thing. There was because like I said, we're circling above an airport. Not our original destination. We're about 10 miles east of our original, but we're circling over Gladwin. And as I did that, boom, Gladwin opens up. And I was like, you know what? There's my shot. I'm going down right now. So we went down, smooth landing, touchdown in Gladwin. The crew there at the airport already knew what's coming down. The emergency from Lansing got on the phone and said, hey, we got a private pilot in IFR conditions. Turn on your lights, do whatever you can do so he can see your airport. And so we got down to Gladwin, and it felt good to get back on the ground. But as I look back, that was one of the best experiences. You know, I mean, when the crap hit the fan, you know, I was calm. Of course, I was nervous. My wife was nervous, but it was calm. We talked to air traffic control. We did what we were supposed to do. But the only danger that I was in was actually trusting my natural senses and my mind, because the gauges are always right. I have backup gauges. The gauges are always right. So the only danger we was ever in was trusting my natural mind. It's just like life. I like what the Bible says in Romans 8. Your natural mind is hostile to the things of God, the ways of God. And I tell you what, there's some principles in God that your natural mind will tell you cannot work. And just like flying, if you get in IFR conditions, complete whiteout, you can't see nothing, and you have to fly by your gauges, if you don't trust them gauges and go with your natural senses, you're going to crash and burn, just like in life. Thank you for the time. God bless.